Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today it's time to have a look at the Tornado IDS. This is the vehicle which is coming in for Germany for the winter event, and it gets access to some interesting bells and whistles which can be kind of worrying. It actually has a lot of mechanics which are not too different to how helicopters operate in the game, but this thing can do it at Mach 1. Which I feel like is going to be a little bit game-breaking once it gets added to a bunch of other machines instead of just a random event vehicle. The Tornado IDS sits at 10.7 right now, which is an interesting BR for it. It gets access to all the standard stuff the other Tornadoes do, apart from the fact it's an event vehicle, so only available obviously in the event, and it gets the 27mm Mausers that we've talked about, which are on the other ones. It gets the two pilots, which have CCIP and CCRP, but the main kind of barnstormer of this thing is of course the radar. This is the ARI 23274. It has all of the bells and whistles you would want. It has looked down all aspects, look up, IFF, TWS, BVR mode, and also ACM mode as well, so it is kind of nuts what this machine has. It also has the Turbo Union RB199s on it, which are also very nice for the vehicle as well, and it gets stock AIM-9Ls, so that will make it a little bit easier to grind. It also gets access to two drop tanks of 1500 liters each. You can also bring some more countermeasures if you want, which total of 56, the large caliber countermeasures. And of course you have access to dumb bombs and these things, the AS-34 Cormorant, the anti-ship missiles. Now these things don't actually pen that much, only 75mm, but the TNT equivalent of this missile is 73.36 kilos. So whatever this thing hits, it's just going to make go boom. Just to give you an idea, right? So one of these bombs, the 1000 pounders, it has 270 kilos of TNT equivalent. This has 73, so you can see how much damage this is going to do, especially against like kind of lighter style targets. You can also bring two AIM-9Ls with the 4 missiles. Obviously this is a vehicle which is mainly designed for ground forces, not for air forces, and you can at least kind of defend yourself at least in a little way with the vehicle. So I just want to kind of show you what this thing will be able to do once you are able to grind it out. Because the vehicle itself, obviously, actually, first of all, I'll show you how much fuel is in the drop tanks, as we can kind of burn it out. This thing could easily, when it comes to ground forces, just be insanely powerful. And also, as I said, kind of a sign to come, and also something that helicopter pilots have liked for the longest time. So you can see 16 minutes of fuel on board, and then about 25 minutes in the drop tanks themselves. That means you can stay up in the air at least a decent amount in this thing. It does burn fuel quite aggressively. It does also have a pretty nice cockpit on it, which is quite good. The radar modes, as we talked about, it has the PD HDN, the TWS HDN, and also just the standard search as well. Let's make sure not to break our gears off. Yeah, you can also, with the drop tanks, you can only get rid of one of them, which is pretty cool. I didn't know you could actually do that, but that's kind of nice. So let's talk about this radar. The first thing is you can see, like, it can pick up targets super easily, right, from the air, and that's going to be really nice for the AIM-9Ls, and also really nice so you can kind of see what's going on. And, you know, that's pretty cool, you know, as long as you're good with the guns and all of that. The vehicle itself does lock up hard, as we talked about before. They heavily nerfed these Tornadoes before launch. But the main thing that is interesting about this is its other abilities. So this radar can go up to like 300 kilometers, but you won't need it more than that. And you can see that one of the things that is interesting is you can lock ground targets with the radar. So this is how the ship missiles are going to work. This means that you technically don't need to see targets on the ground. Your radar only needs to see targets on the ground. And as long as you keep the lock and the missile goes in, they are technically eventually active radar missiles. But even if you stay at kind of a angle like this from the target, so while you're dodging stuff and you fire the missile in, as long as you can keep the lock, you're going to be able to hit the target with the missile. And that is scary. That's incredibly scary on the vehicle. This thing can actually lock onto air targets and ground targets with the TWS pretty much at the same time, so you can see everything that is in your frontal cone ahead of you. And since it is not just an air-to-air radar, it's also an air-to-ground radar, it means that you can just do some very silly things in it, which is kind of nuts. Like just being able to lock onto this stuff, and then you can switch targets if you want to, fire the missile in, and then, you know, turn off while the missile goes in. It stays on it as it goes in, since, you know, it should act like an active radar one, so once it gets in a vicinity, you can annihilate the target and you can be out of there. This is like the next stage of War Thunder, by the way. This is the next stage of CAS being absolutely crazy. Like, you thought that CAS was going to be crazy, or is crazy now. You ain't seen nothing yet. Basically giving planes the capabilities that helicopters have had for years, and then bang, and then fire it in, move off, as you know we talked about, and then as long as the active radar's in, gone, and then you can bang this guy as you're going around, and then smash them, and you can see it even like his it was trying to lock the friend versus foe stuff. But the main thing that this does, it's not just about being able to lock onto vehicles. What this also does is it makes it easier for people to identify where targets are on the battlefield if they have dumb bombs, or if they have, you know, if they're using like the CCIP for the bombs instead of like the missiles. So this can just tell you in real time where the enemy is, as long as there's no like physical barrier between you and where they are. So yeah, it's just nuts. It really is nuts. Also, the actual like the cockpit here, the sight, you know, all of it is just beautiful. Like it's a really nice looking aircraft. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's it kind of sucks that its flight performance isn't the best, especially compared to the other barnstormers we have. But at the same time, like, it's still gonna be fun. And then even if you, oh no, auto. Where did I put the reverse thing? There we go. So even if, you know, you screw up positioning or whatever, you can always just use the reverse thrust as well, which I can't wait to see somebody use to get a kill with. I feel like that would be pretty fun to do, like just using it to kind of slow yourself down as you go. But yeah, you should be very afraid of this thing. Like, it's, oh my god. It's nuts. I don't know how else to put it. It is absolutely nuts what it's able to do. Just imagine being this far out and launching missiles at enemies. Oh boy, here we go. As always though, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Forge, Siegebreak, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, and also Sem Arslan, Wilkski, Uncle Bean, Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.